Hey guys, back another great episode of Oversteer TV Online, the podcast. Got my partner in crime over here, Jeff Brown. I'm Tony Castanera. Let me turn my phone down because nobody texts me until I get online.
You start a podcast.
Yeah, so I start taping. So
The
go
big
for it,
news.
Jeff. You got the story. You do it. Come on, let us hear it.
The big news. Well, Miami is the big news. This was a big week in racing for Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we had the Miami Grand Prix Formula One race, which is always an excellent race.
Mm-hmm.
But the big news is that Homestead Miami Speedway has the championship race again in 2026.
Yep. We called it.
Yeah.
We called it about a month ago.
It's going to be on a rotating basis, so it probably will only be there for next year.
Yeah, well, we did call it like about 6 weeks ago. We were saying they're going to be fixing up the speedway because they're going to be getting the championship back. I contacted the speedway, got no response back. They just say, "Hey, thanks for asking," but hey, they didn't deny it. But it's going to be rotated. I believe it's going to be rotating. They say between Homestead, the rumor is Phoenix, and one other track. I forgot what other track it's going to be. So it's going to be Homestead every third year.
Okay, well, that's not bad.
Which is not bad. And I know we're both from Miami. We're both from South Florida. We have a history of the Speedway. But I'm sorry. To me, the thing is simple. The finale should be at Daytona. It makes sense, right? It's the biggest. Okay, you have the Daytona 500. I know it's the biggest race of the year. It's always in end of January, early February. But then I say come back and have a race again at Daytona at night and just do it then at the big and on their showcase, on their palace. That's the way it should be.
Well, if you ask the drivers would want it to be in Homestead every single year.
They love Homestead.
It's the favorite track of most of the drivers.
Mm-hmm.
They love Homestead.
That's the thing. The drivers like Homestead and the sponsors like Homestead, because there's nothing like when you're running some corporation up north and you go, "Hey, I got to check on my sponsorship. And where's their racing? Oh, Miami in November. Oh, yeah. Darn! fire up the Learjet." I'm sorry.
Learjets are so passe. They
the Gulfstream
Learjets anymore. Yeah.
Fire up the Gulfstream. Now, one thing they didn't announce is they didn't talk that much about what they're going to do with the Speedway up until because they have over a year now.
A year and a half. Yeah.
Year and a half to get ready for that event because I was looking at the schedule. There's only going to be the one race at Homestead at the end of the season, and that's it. I think it's also a good move for them because this year it was only a couple of weeks after, it was like about a month ago, the race at Homestead. And that was kind of close to the Formula One race, which kind of steals their thunder. And, November, Miami, and please race at night. I doubt they will. They'll probably race during the day. And they got to hope the Dolphins don't have a game at home.
Well, they usually do it where it starts during the day and ends at night.
Yeah.
So then the drivers hate that because then the sun coming down the front straightaway is right in their eyes, makes it hard for them to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they don't, NASCAR doesn't care about that.
That's the thing. Miami back in the 80s and maybe even the 90s was kind of like becoming like a motorsports capital, kind of like a mecca. We had the Miami Grand Prix, a lot of stuff going on. Then it kind of died out recently, the last, 5-10 years, but it's coming back. Besides the finale, they announced the Miami Grand Prix, the Formula One race. They redid their contract for 16 years. Yeah. Nobody has a contract that long in Formula One to hold a race. Monaco, every 3 years, have to redo their contract. But they're going to be racing until 2041. which we might be all underwater by then, but who cares?
Well, I won't care because I probably won't be here in that either.
Yeah.
That's we're looking 80 something years old, for me.
Just to give you an idea how big this Formula One race is, I heard an incredible statistic that because the tickets are ridiculous, the prices for the Miami Grand Prix, that Stephen Ross makes more money off the ticket sales for the Miami Grand Prix than he does for the entire season of the Miami Dolphins.
Well, I had a representative call me from the Miami Dolphins because I have season tickets, and they asked me if I wanted tickets to the Grand Prix, and they quoted me a price, and I said, that's almost as much as I pay for the entire season.
Right.
To go to every Miami Dolphin game. And I said, you guys have priced me out of this deal.
And the crazy thing is that sucker sold out every year. The amount of people that come into that race is ridiculous.
And most of them from from out of town.
Better for Miami.
A huge tourist destination.
And when you think about it, you want people from out of town. The local people, they don't spend money. If I'm going to go to Miami Grand Prix, I'm going to sleep in my own bed. I'm going to eat my own breakfast. They want the people from out of town flying in, spending all that ridiculous hotel money and other stuff.
Well, that's the major income in Miami is tourism. We don't have factories and we don't build cars, and we have tourism.
Tourism and pretentiousness.
A lot of Teslas and Cybertrucks. I saw one painted green the other day. It looked just like a dumpster.
I like Cybertrucks, man. Everybody's hating on Cybertrucks. I think they're cool. I think a lot of people hate them because they're just different, but I think they're cool. I still wouldn't own one
because a green one. I thought it was a dumpster. I was like, look at, why is that dumpster parked in the road? And I'm like, oh shit, it's a Cybertruck.
I have a tiger stripe one, a black and white tiger stripe one near my house. Also, it's
if you have a Cybertruck, don't paint it green.
Well, they don't.
People will come up and try to throw trash into it.
That's the thing. Cybertrucks, they don't paint Cybertrucks. When you buy a Cybertruck, of course, it's a stainless steel brush, but you can order it with any color wrap you want. They'll do it for you. Yeah. So you can get that, and then if you don't like it after 3 months, take it off and they'll put on a different color, and you have a different color car. That's cool.
I'm trying to think of the guy that orders one and says, I want dumpster green. Have you got dumpster green? They're saying that the raccoons are having a trouble with the raccoons trying to get into Cybertrucks. It's because they think it's a dumpster.
Okay. We're kind of veering off topics here.
Yeah, we're off topic now. We got to talk about Formula One and that race. The rain.
The first off, kudos to the guys at Hard Rock Stadium and the Dolphins and all those people. You would think that a parking lot track with all those walls, that track would have flooded. That track had the most incredible drainage I ever saw. I wish the streets surrounding it had that kind of drainage during a rainstorm. It would rain, it would pour. We get those kind of thunderstorms all the time here in South Florida, and the roads get like 6-7 inches of water. That track was bone dry super fast. The water just ran right off. Kudos whoever did the water there.
Well, you know what they say, if you don't like the weather in Miami, just wait 5 minutes. It'll change.
Oh God. Interesting weekend. Antonelli started making a claim with Mercedes that he's just not a number 2 driver. His starts need some work. McLaren, dude,
dominate.
I told you, McLaren, Lando, you're number 2. It's Piastri.
Yeah.
Lando's got over almost 3 years in Formula One more than Piastri. Like, I think it's 4 years more than Piastri, and Piastri already has more wins than him. All right, and he just owned that race. He qualified second. Verstappen had the pole. Verstappen led the first few laps, and Piastri said goodbye. See you later. And then Norris caught up, and he had a hard time getting past Verstappen. He doesn't, he's too tentative. And but then after that, then they once Norris finally did get by Verstappen, that's it. They both checked out. They just cruised to victory.
Well, Piastri also took his time going around Verstappen. He made the better pass for sure.
Much better pass. It took him a couple laps. Norris took like 5 or 6 laps to get by him. He messed up a bit. It was they had the sprint race earlier. It was just a good weekend. It was a good race for Formula One. It wasn't the greatest race. It wasn't going to go down in history as one of the best races, but it was entertaining. There was a lot of midfield passing, a lot of stuff going on.
I enjoyed it.
I liked it a lot. Then we had the IndyCar race at Barber. Beautiful track, boring as hell. And Alex Palau won again. 4 races. He's won 3 and coming second in the other one. I think it's really nice for Roger Penske to put up a series and spending all this money for Alex Palou to win everything, because it's
so you think he's going to lock up that championship, huh? Early?
Nobody's even come close. I mean, when he came in second, that was at Long Beach, and because of pit stops and some other and a bad yellow flag, he got stuck behind Lundgaard, and then it was like, I'm going to win the championship anyway, so why am I going to risk it at a street course past him? And he just followed him all the way to the checkered flag. He's won the champions 3 of the last 4 years. I can't, unless something terrible happens to Chip Ganassi Racing, which is something that never happens to Ganassi Racing, I can't see him losing the championship. I mean, who else is going to?
It's still early in the season. It's way early.
It's still, we got 4 races into a 16 race season, but still, I mean, who's going to challenge him? Nobody's in even the same league, it looks like, out there. I mean,
and like I said, their problem is they have no big names that's going to draw all the fans that they want to see somebody race. I mean, NASCAR had Dale Earnhardt, and then when he died, they had Dale Earnhardt Jr. And everybody tuned in to see Dale Earnhardt Jr. Then Dale Earnhardt Jr. retired, and then they hit this lull, where they didn't have that big name, and now they got Kyle Larson, so that's brought them back. I think Kyle Larson's brought him back as being the big name in the sport right now. And of course, he's at the end of this month, he's going to be doing the double, running the Indianapolis 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 on the same day.
That should be fun to watch.
Well, he tried to do it last year, but then they had rain, that's always happens. And then he, ends up having to miss one, It cost him the championship last year, I believe.
You talk about named drivers. I thought a few years ago that it was going to be Joseph Newgarden, that could be a breakout star for IndyCar. He was good. He won championships. He's a 2-time defending Indy 500 champion. This year, he can't get his own way. He's like 11th in points. And he's like, I'll be watching the race. Hey, where's Newgarden? I have to scroll down to see how far back he is and everything. And he's a good looking guy. He's a smart guy. It's just when you hear the interviews, God, he's so boring.
Yeah, he just has no personality.
Personality.
People want drivers like Darrell Waltrip, that would get up there and say all kinds of crazy stuff and just big over the top personality that people love that, know.
Newgarden, talented guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but he's the kind of guy when you sit and you hear him talking, I'd let him date my sister. But people don't want to be fans of guys who would date your sister. I mean, you want the guys who you want to be fan of the guy. Hey, I want to drive in a pickup truck, drinking a Miller Genuine Draft and yelling, "Yeah!" That's what you want.
Well, that's nice that you're offering up your sister, Tony. I'm not sure how she would feel about it, but
I'll ask her.
what do you think of Joseph Newgarden? Would you ride an elevator with that guy?
No, I don't even want to ride an elevator with you anymore. One thing that was interesting about this past weekend is the first one of the few times where you had in the United States NASCAR, IndyCar, and Formula One on TV all on the same day, all on network TV.
Yeah.
So you can actually compare. Well, no, NASCAR was on Fox Sports 1, so it was on cable. They were number one in the ratings with 2.5 million. The Miami Grand Prix had 2.2 with a 2.4 million peak. IndyCar on Fox came in fourth on network TV with 914,000, which is an improvement over last year, but still 914,000. That's less than half of what Formula One got. Now, to me, the real shocking number, the real important number is, it's one thing, they want to have a lot of people watching, but sponsors and marketing, the people who fund the sport, the people dole out the cash for the sport, they look at demographic, and their main demographic is 18 to 49. Those are the guys they want watching. Those are the ones who spend the money. Okay, those are the ones who are that's who their marketing dollars are second for. Formula One, out of their 2.2, 786,000 were in that demo. NASCAR, only 470. So right now, according to marketers in the United States, the number one sport for racing, Formula Motorsport, is Formula One, not NASCAR. Yeah. NASCAR is some young guys and a bunch of old farts watching it.
Yeah. And the drivers are mostly young drivers now. We don't have any old drivers left, really.
But it's a bunch of old guys going, NASCAR sucks. Used to be better back in the day, but they still watch it. Yeah.
That's true, and NASCAR has a real problem trying to get that younger demographic. They've got the young demographic is the kids of the old guys that you're talking about.
Right.
That they're forcing these kids to sit down and watch a race with them all the time, so the kids end up becoming fans.
Yeah.
But they're not pulling in the new demographic.
And I'm going to tell you right now, the one thing that they can do. The races are too damn long. Back in the day when NASCAR was king, you had 4 channels. And you were starting to get cable, stuff like that. Now there's so many things besides cable and streaming services and the internet to tell a 15-year-old or an 18-year-old or a 22-year-old, here, have a beer and sit there for 4 hours.
Yeah.
In front of the TV. It ain't going to happen. Formula One is over in an hour and 45 minutes. All right. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that NASCAR make the Daytona 125. No, keep the Daytona 500. Keep the the Charlotte 600. And a couple of things. But the other races,
well, they've shortened a lot of them down to 400. Like Homestead Miami is just a 400 miler.
Even then, and something like you can go to Kansas or wherever. Instead of Kansas, what you do is you have 2 races. 200, one day 200 miler, another day a 200 miler. They can do stuff like that. 400 miles is still too much. I think during the regular season, except for the what is it now, the 600 in Charlotte? Is it the World 600, the Coca-Cola 600? I forget. They always change the Coca-Cola 600, the Daytona 500. Those tracks, keep a thing. But the other tracks, no more than 300 miles. And a lot of them do them double, do 2 races instead.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, they have the trucks and they have the Xfinity series that race on Fridays and Saturdays, and those are much shorter races,
yeah,
and have been better shows
yeah,
lately.
but they're still. It's like, yeah, you can say the same thing like a baseball. Yeah, minor league baseball is more fun than major league baseball, but nobody goes to minor league. They want to see the best. So NASCAR, the Cup Series is the best. Those are champions. Those are the people in trucks and Xfinity. Those are the ones that are racing to get up there.
And
Right?
baseball it has done a lot to shorten the games.
Yeah.
The purist. I'm a purist in baseball. I hate the pitch clock.
Oh, of course.
The
I don't
pitch
like.
timer, and I hate that.
Yeah.
And you can't call timeout. Your batter only gets to call timeout once.
Yeah, it's kind of taking some strategy again. But then again, I've been to games where 4 hours. I mean, no.
I find myself fast forwarding through baseball games to get like the last 3 innings or something.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that would be one of the best things they can do instead of, let's say, Kansas or some of the other tracks. Instead of doing a 400 miler, just do Saturday a 200 miler, Sunday a 200 miler, or even Saturday a 125 and then Sunday a 250, something like that. Just to get people to watch them and to go, hey, I don't have to spend my whole day. I know.
Yeah.
Now, the only sport that doesn't cut down the time really is the NFL, but the NFL that's something different. And the NFL also has, you can be watching the NFL game on TV. You can get up and leave, no big deal. You also have a halftime, take a break, and there's only an 18-game season, so
yeah,
that's it. And also people are more invested in the NFL, but it's like basketball. I mean, who watches? I mean, I hear people talking about the NBA, 82 games. Who cares? What's the point?
Well, baseball also, it's like there's a baseball game every single day. It seems like.
Yeah.
What do they have, like 160 games or
160.
something?
The baseball is 162 games, but that.
That's double
Yeah.
the basketball that you're complaining about 82.
Yeah, but the thing is, in baseball, a team starts at the beginning of the season and might suck and then get good at the end of the season and win the World Series. The NBA, who sucks at the beginning. The first game of the season, who's going to be there at the finals, and who's going to suck. All right. We're Miami fans. We knew the Miami Heat was going to be barely mediocre. And what were they?
Barely mediocre. and once they got rid of Jimmy Butler, that was it. Season was over.
Yeah. All right. That's it. Nobody, the coaching of the Heat was not going to change that thing, and they're not going to come up with a new plan no, it's over. Okay. Anyway, so what would you do? Okay, I said I had my thing. What would you do to make NASCAR make it more popular among younger people?
That's a good question. I have to think about that a little bit because they're the thing about NASCAR is they are willing to make changes. They have always been willing to make changes. And if the change doesn't work out, they're willing to change back or make more changes. So I put faith in them because, they've made changes in the past that I kind of questioned that worked out. And then they made other changes that I questioned that didn't work out. I remember back with the old car of tomorrow, the old cot car. They had a wing on the back of it, and everybody hated it. So guess what? A year or two later, the wing was gone. So they're not afraid to make changes, and if it doesn't work, they'll change it back. NASCAR for years and years did not make any changes at all. You had 500-mile races, and there was, since then they've come in with the stage racing. Or they race in 3 different stages, and then you get points for each stage, which brings some entertainment to the middle of the race, which I think was a good thing. The purists hate it, but I think it was a good thing. They're looking at these things and they're studying the demographics, and they're probably, asking questions to the young people. What do you want? I'm no longer a young person. So we need to ask a young person that. What do you want that would make you want to watch NASCAR every week?
Yeah.
And get those answers, and then try to do what they say.
That's a job I don't envy, because have you talked to a young person lately?
I talk to them all the time. I'm a Lyft driver, and it's just like I want to pull my hair out. It's like I don't even want to have a conversation with them because they're just so dumb. So dumb. The education in this country has gone way, way down.
Yeah. And always remember, good marketing isn't giving the people, finding out what the people want. Good marketing is telling the people what they want. What they want. I mean, that's what NASCAR needs to do. Make some adjustments and go, hey, this is better. This is what you're going to like, and you're going to like it. And you're going to drink Miller Genuine Draft, and you're going to.
Nobody will make me drink Miller Genuine Draft.
And you're going to take down that Confederate flag, and you're going to buy yourself a camper.
Well, they've already gotten rid of the Confederate flag. They are banned from all racetracks.
Yeah, I know.
And rightfully so,
And
what you have now is you got the transition from the old guys, the purists, into the new generation, and then they've got to figure out how to keep that new generation, how to attract that new generation. And like that race at Texas was a boring race, sort of like the Barber race with IndyCar. And we're going to another 1.5 mile track at Kansas that I think, I always say, oh, Kansas, but then Kansas always has a great race. So I'm actually looking forward to the Kansas race this weekend because they've always proven me wrong and had great races. So I'm actually looking forward to the Kansas race this week.
Kansas is one of those famous that they used to call one of the cookie cutter tracks that they all built in the 90s. Kansas is usually a good race.
And I always look at it and say, oh, Kansas, really? And then I watch it and I'm like, wow, Kansas, what a great race.
That's like that's the problem with Indy cars, because I guess beggars can't be choosers. They go like they raced last week in a Barber. Barber's a beautiful track. You look at that place, it's gorgeous. I've been there. It's like a museum. But the actual track itself is a club track. It's not good for passing. It's not good for being close racing. And what you had a race that nothing happened. Yeah. Nobody passed in. The only passing happened in the pit stops. There was no wheel to wheel, so there was no banging. There was nothing happened. So you had no yellow flags. And my video went out again.
Yeah. We're getting ready to run out of time.
That was that was the gods from IndyCar trying to shut me up. I will never shut up.
That was Roger Penske. Shut this guy down.
I will not be silenced.
ICE will be knocking at your door in 10 minutes, Tony. They're going to deport you soon.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll badmouth IndyCar you want. If they want me to shut up about it, send the Gulfstream and we'll talk.
We'll deport me to Hawaii. That's where I want to go.
Okay, with that, let's end this sucker. I want you guys to like it, give us some comments, share this thing, do all the stuff you need to do, and we'll be back once some more stuff happens at the popping out as soon as we're done. We'll be back next week, right? Hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. This is Jeff Brown. I'm Tony Castanera. We'll see you next week at OversteertV Online, the podcast. Say bye.
Bye, guys.